Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Danielle, and this video is for the astrology of February 2024. So before we get started, it would really help me if you would give this video a like and share it with a friend. You can also subscribe with the notification bell so you always see my updates here, and you can save this video for later so that you can come back and listen to it throughout the month. So let's dive right in. The astrology of February 2024 is dynamic, exciting, and least of all romantic, honestly. So in my opinion, this is less about romance this month and more about individual growth and stepping away from inequality of any kind. So to go into it, there are going to be 5 planets in the sign of Aquarius this month, so there is a shock and awe factor. So whatever part of your chart, whichever house is being activated by Aquarius, this is really going to be lit up throughout the month of February. And as we move through March, April, and kind of going into Pisces and Aries season, you're going to have these inner planets moving through each part or each house in your chart. So it's important to look where your chart is going to be activated over the next few months with these planets. So first and foremost, February 5th through 23rd, we're going to have Mercury in Aquarius. So Mercury in the sign of Aquarius is really fast-moving thoughts. It's like flashes of insight, sudden realizations. When I think of Mercury in Aquarius, I think of the hive mind. So the collective consciousness where we're telecommunication, we're reading one another's thoughts, and we're able to communicate more telepathically, kind of all on the same frequency of thought and in that hive mind. So what's can also come up with Mercury in Aquarius, though, is intrusive thoughts. So that's something to be aware of and to remember when those thoughts come up that they don't belong to you just because you can hear them or experience them. So something to consider and remember that we can always think for ourselves. Mercury in Aquarius does have a tendency to think, through the lens of everyone else's thoughts or what they're thinking or what they're doing. But I think it's important with Mercury in Aquarius to tap back into our own individuality and think for yourself. So February 9th, we have a new moon in the sign of Aquarius. The sun and the moon will be together at 20 degrees of Aquarius. And what I find interesting about this new moon chart, which I'll try to put it up on the screen, is all the planets and points during this new moon in Aquarius are between 21 degrees Capricorn and 19 degrees of Taurus. So they're all on this one side of the chart, the very end and the very beginning of the zodiac. And that's not uncommon around certain times of the year. The inner planets will travel with the sun. But right now, through basically Aries season, we're going to have these inner planets, Mars, Mercury, Venus, and the sun all traveling together through Aquarius, Pisces, and Aries. So like I said, that's where you want to look at which houses these are lining up for you and what area of your life you're going to be experiencing these dynamic and exciting changes. So with that new moon, we will have Mars and Venus making a loose trine to Uranus and Taurus. And what that represents for me, especially because Venus is involved, but Mars as well, of course unexpected, but because they're in the earth signs, it represents to me a change in the way that our currency is set up, a change in our money or our food systems. Could be something to do with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, that sort of thing. But also with Taurus and Capricorn, these earth signs, I think about the actual earth. And there could be some innovation in our conservation efforts or how we're conserving and preserving our Mother Earth or Pachamama or Mother Gaia. So that is exciting, and this new moon will be anything but quiet. It will probably be very loud and disruptive, just because that's what Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, is all about. So the next aspect we have is February 13th through March 22nd, Mars will be in Aquarius. So Mars in Aquarius is all over the place. It's what I think of as the mycelium network. So there's connections in all parts of the globe, all corners of the earth. It's driven to connect with all types of things and people, and it will be taking that collective action on our consciousness. So if some thoughts or beliefs came up during Mercury in Aquarius so far, that's where Mars comes in and pushes us to take action on whatever came up, or taking action on that consciousness or that hive mind. So again, important to think for ourselves and make decisions based on our own rationale and not necessarily what the group is thinking or what the group think, which can also be beneficial. But I think it's just important to take into consideration your own truth and opinions and individuality during that time. February 16th through March 11th, Venus will join these planets in Aquarius. And with Venus, it's really taking a look at our values. So what we value, what we appreciate, what we want to receive, how that is related to Aquarian themes. So things could start to get a little bit weird, especially February 16th through 18th, when we have the Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus, and Pluto all in the sign of Aquarius. So there's a lot of emphasis here on the future, on technology, community, artificial intelligence. Aquarius is weird. It's very out there. It can be very cold. And it is about community, but Aquarius can also be a loner because nobody really gets it. It's so out there, it's so strange that no one could ever understand, and then they're like, well, I'll just do this on my own. So when we think about the planet Uranus, or the ruler of Aquarius, it's so cold that hardly any life, I don't think any life can live on that planet. So it can be so cold and detached that no one can even connect or relate. So I think during this Aquarius stellium, it is important, to be in community, to connect in with other people, but also finding those deeper, more intimate connections, whether that's with yourself, whether that's with a partner, friend, or someone that you can really connect a little bit deeper than like a shallow, like I'm friends with everyone kind of thing. So as we have these planets move through the first few degrees of Aquarius, they are going to have a meeting with Pluto. And that's kind of like I don't want to use the word come to Jesus because Pluto is the Lord of the underworld, but it is a moment where we really have to take a deep look at our soul. We have to take a deep look at our karma. And I think of them coming over this point at 0 degrees of Aquarius and meeting with Pluto. I think about Pluto telling all of them, there's no turning back. All right, here we go. There's no turning back. We're in the future now. So each individual planet, Mercury, Mars, and Venus, they'll have their opportunity to just kind of sit with things for a minute and feel them, around mid-February when each of them goes over that point, and that's when they have that really deep reflection with Pluto. So with Venus going over Pluto, this could be a look at our karmic relationships, a look at what's come up since that Venus retrograde back in July, of how our values have shifted, how the way that we love or the way that we love ourselves has shifted. With Mars going over that Pluto, it could be Mars going over Pluto in Aquarius could be like a sudden course correction where we're on a path and we're doing the things, and then we meet up with Pluto and Mars meets up with Pluto, and it's like, oh, I'm not doing that at all anymore. I'm doing something completely different, and something else came up and just suddenly came to my mind with Mercury and Aquarius. So being flexible is important, especially because Aquarius is a fixed sign. The fixed signs of Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, these signs are really amazing at carrying things through, and once they get started with something, they're really great at carrying it through and completing the task and the project. Flexibility is not their strongest suit, though, with the fixed signs. So it was really important with all this fixed energy and this fixed earth energy, and there being a lot less water in the chart, to feel into our feelings, feel into your heart space and your intuition, and what really is your guiding light and your guiding compass. So whether there's chaos all around or whatever it may be, finding stillness within and thinking for yourself is going to be really, really, really important during this Aquarius stellium in February. So February 18th, we will have the sun moving into Pisces. This calms things down a little bit. And Pisces is, of course, a bit more lethargic. It's even further away than Aquarius. This is our dream state. This is the escape. This is quite literally the spirit world. So we'll talk more about Pisces throughout that season. But basically, this is a way to kind of get away, to numb things out. We might have a little bit more, like I said, lethargy or apathy when it comes to the sun moving into Pisces. Like, oh, I just want to give up, or, I just want to escape and not be a part of it, or, that apathy can take over and just wanting to numb things out. But really, mid-February is we're going to want to stay present for the rest of these exciting things to come. So remember that, if you don't have as much energy during that time, to give yourself and your body the rest that it needs. So as we go through February, one of the most significant transits, in my opinion, is February 19th. We're going to have the North Node conjunct with Chiron. So just to talk a little bit about what those things represent. The North Node is our path to collective evolution, our destiny. So each one of us has a North Node in our chart, and that's pretty much what we're evolving to, or what we're moving towards in this lifetime. It's the head of the dragon. The South Node, or the tail of the dragon, is our past. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad for us, but it's what we're most familiar with, what we've been working with for lifetimes and lifetimes. The North Node is what we may feel uncomfortable because we've never done it before. So collectively, this past year in July, we had the nodes switch from Taurus and Scorpio to Aries and Libra. So the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra has emphasized the importance to us of letting go of toxic or codependent relationship patterns, letting go of people pleasing, letting go of, like I said, codependency. So with the North Node in Aries, we're all being challenged to stand up for ourselves, step away from relationships that are out of balance, stand up for who we are, and become the embodiment of leadership. Being a pioneer is very much Aries, bravely stepping into the power of the self. So Chiron is coming into a conjunction with the North Node, and what Chiron represents in our charts is a wound. So it's also the way that we heal and the way that we help others to heal. Chiron was a centaur, and he was a teacher. He was one of Achilles' teachers. And during the time that he was a teacher, he was a very revered centaur, and he accidentally got shot with an arrow, and he was wounded. So throughout the rest of his time as a teacher, what he had to do was he had to use that physical wound to heal himself, and then that was how he became the best teacher for helping others. So that's why the glyph of Chiron is shaped like a key. It's shaped like a little K or an old-fashioned key, because it's the key to our healing. So wherever you have Chiron in your chart, that is going to be some way that you help other people to heal after you've helped yourself to heal. And normally it's a physical wound with Chiron, but it's going to be a deep, deep place where we don't feel worthy or we don't feel adequate. So with Chiron in Aries, again, it's having to step into our physical power, being a pioneer, being a leader, standing up for ourselves, stepping away from any kind of toxic relationship patterns and codependency type things. And with these two meeting in Aries, this I would say is the come to Jesus moment. This is the moment where we see something that we're required to step into, a part of our identity, a part of our physical path, a part of our 3D path, and it could, like I said, be a physical obstacle or a physical wound or a sickness or that type of thing, God forbid. But it's where we have to step into who we are, the truth of who we are, and it's where we can grow and propel forward. I don't think that anything happens for no reason. So in astrology, a lot of the times the universe, or whoever you'd like to attribute it to, is pointing at specific things, saying, look at this is your opportunity. go for it and do it. So really, really, really important to look at the house that you have, 15 degrees of Aries, I believe, is where they're meeting. So Aries, February 19th is going to be really, really important as well for that conjunction. So last part of the month, we've got a little bit of romance, I would say. February 22nd, Mars and Venus will be meeting together in Aquarius. So in my opinion, that's the most romantic time we will see. We've had kind of the feminine and the masculine, or Mars and Venus, just doing their own things, not really collaborating with one another. Around the 22nd or around mid to late February, we may see a little more collaboration and less emphasis on the individual. But with that Chiron North Node conjunction in Aries, I think throughout this month it's kind of really building up to that, and our emphasis is really on the self-development, the strength and fortitude of the physical body, and basically just like where we're going as our own captain, the captain of our own ship. So where is our compass going? What direction are we heading in? That kind of thing. But it will be nice to be able to collaborate with other people during the last part of the month. February 24th, we have the full moon in Virgo. So this will be the concentration on our health, our self-development, our routines, organizing, and thinking about what's in our hands or what's within our control. So Virgo is going to be dealing with those aspects of health and healing. This will be after the sun has moved into Pisces, and the Pisces-Virgo axis is all about healing and health. So with the Virgo full moon, it will be a concentration on our physical health. Maybe during Aquarius season, our heads have just gotten, our heads have taken control of the ship, and we need to come back down to earth with this Virgo full moon. So with that Virgo full moon, we can find back into our routine. If something came up with that Chiron North Node conjunction on the 19th, then you realize something about your health needs attention, then that Virgo full moon is the perfect opportunity to release an addiction or let go of a toxic pattern, or maybe it's a person that you just need to not speak to as often, or make it not a part of your routine to have them in your life. So next in the month, we have Saturn conjunct the Sun, as well as Mercury conjunct Saturn, as well as Mercury conjunct the Sun. So February 28th, or the last few days of the month, it is going to be a very sobering time. We're going to be reflecting on our path, our healing, as well as our spiritual responsibilities. Saturn in Pisces really deals with our spiritual responsibilities, and it'll be there for the next couple years. So that is a little bit longer term generational transit. But Mercury and the Sun moving through there and kind of having that cazimi, or basically in the heart of, is what cazimi means. So Saturn will be in the heart of the Sun as well as Mercury. So Saturn and Mercury together in the heart of the Sun, or the cazimi, will really be putting a focus on those responsibilities, that communication with an authority figure, communication with the father. There could be forgiveness that has to take place as we have this serious reflection. But it is a very sobering time, and it could be a time where we just have to really pause and slow down, as well as considering that everything isn't within our control. So there could be external forces here at the end of the month that it's another course correction. It's another time to stay flexible, time to really remember that we're not in control of everything, and maybe to see like the perspective of what we are in control of, and how we can have some forgiveness and some compassion for either the father figure or some authority in our lives, or how we can just gently restructure. When I think of Saturn and Pisces, I think of a gentle restructuring of our life, or our spiritual life. So that's the month of February. And there's, like I said, a lot of dynamic and exciting things to talk about. This is just an overview breaking down the basic transits. If you want to go deeper into this, sign up on my Patreon for the for the full moon and the new moon offerings. I do a write-up of every full moon and every new moon, so you can get a little more information with that and how it is applicable to your individual birth chart or your rising sign. So if you want to know more about that, I'm putting the link below for the Patreon. I will also link how to book a session with me for a reading or a Reiki session or whatever healing it is that's calling to you. So I look forward to seeing you soon in the next video, and please comment, like, share, subscribe how this resonated with you. Be well.